Hey, what's up, Roxstars? It's Rox with a little bit of talk about what's at the top of the blogs. So let's get to it. Alright, you guys, opening up the video with politics and the antics of your president as usual. This time we're talking about a white nationalist event that happened in Virginia. So evidently there was a rally that was being held by these supposed white nationalists. We're just going to go in and call them white racists because that's what they are. They were having something called Unite the Right. That was where a group of white men and women got their tiki torches and decided to chant about taking back their country and uniting the right. Now, this event, as you can imagine, immediately became violent as protesters to the rally showed up and a fight ensued. That went on all day and even culminated in one of the racists plowing down protesters, running over them, tossing them in the street, completely mowing them down. One person was killed, Heather Heyer, and more than 30 people were injured in those days of the protesting. Just a fucking mess. I was in Louisiana when it was going on and I didn't really pay much attention to it, but my husband was just like, oh, this is going to be a mess. Because this is going to make other groups think that they have license to do the exact same thing. And then you did hear about smaller groups around the United States that were trying to do this exact same thing over the weekend. So yeah, a mess. In events like this, we as Americans usually turn to who we consider our leader to hear what they have to say on the matter. And right now I don't have an active leader, but your president went on to tweet that before anything else that we have to remember that we're all Americans and that they were closely monitoring the situation in Virginia. Never called it out for what it was, which was a domestic terrorism attack, a racist attack. He was very careful in not ever saying those type of words, but instead saying that there were some bad people out there and that they were keeping their eye on it. Immediately the backlash was there. People were wondering why a person that they would call their president would almost look like he's protecting these racist people out there in Virginia and other places. And again, I'm not surprised. Your president does all type of foolish antics, and it just one day after another is always something. And this event, while it's disheartening that he didn't take a stronger stance, it didn't surprise me at all. But like I said, the backlash was there. It was immediate. People were complaining, couldn't believe that he wasn't going to say anything more directly. Even the governor of Virginia said that this was a domestic terrorism attack and that those people had no place in Virginia, that they actually needed to leave the United States. Okay, took a way more direct approach in blaming the people that who it was for. And after the pressures of Americans upset with their president, your president got on TV and reiterated, if anything, he made it even stronger, his feelings for this, which was that both sides were responsible, that those people, meaning the nationalists, had permits for months to go on and do this rally, and they were peacefully holding a demonstration, and that these other people came in and started the fight. Okay, I know you guys have all seen the video of what they're saying there. I don't know how you can consider that being peaceful, even if they are not yelling and screaming, which they were. But even if you're not, the words that you say cannot be considered peaceful when you're talking about, you know, the Jews won't win and, you know, taking back the country and things like that. I mean, how can you defend something like that? Okay. And of course, once you start talking about Jewish people, then, you know, that's when it really becomes something way bigger. Now, we as black people, we've been complaining about all types of things that these white racists have been doing. I mean, the KKK, even so close as last year, was having demonstrations down in downtown Atlanta, out here. Very small, but enough that people knew about it. And, you know, black people kind of showed up and watched to see what was going to happen, and nothing really went down. But, you know, people have been complaining about this kind of thing happening, and nothing has really been done about it. But now that we're talking about Jewish people and whatever, then now, of course, it is something way bigger. Now, these white supremacists, David Duke, who we know is the leader of the group, tweeted the other day that Trump would be very smart to remember that it's the white people that put him into office. Okay, and they're saying that that is the reason why Donald Trump even reiterated his feelings that everybody was at fault, and never seemed to want to point the finger directly at the people that were responsible for this. I guess that was a warning, and I guess Donald Trump did not want to alienate those voters that he had. I guess it's important to him to keep those voters, because when he tries to run again, I don't know how he thinks that he can win, but then at the same time, maybe he can. Fuck, he did it once, right? I would hope that America wouldn't let that mistake happen twice, but it's obvious that Donald Trump knows where his bread is buttered and is not trying to upset the balance of the knife on that piece of bread. So terrible. And of course, after he made it very clear how he felt, David Duke did come out and say that it was very smart of him, kudos to him for understanding what the problem was and not placing the blame on the wrong people. I'm just telling you in layman's terms what it was. It's not directly a quote what he said, but that's basically it. But you guys know what? I'm just every week, every single week something happens. Donald Trump says something or does something and everybody is outraged. And then it just seems like nothing happens. Maybe this might be the time that something happens. I don't even really know. I mean, you can't fire the president because he's racist. Okay, fuck, they the ones that put him in there, right? But there's been some fallout. Businesses have been... there's some business council boards that Donald Trump had organized, advisors. And some top Fortune 500 companies, the CEOs have dropped off of these boards because they just can't sit by anymore and watch Donald Trump act like this. They can't afford to be tied into something like this. They have businesses to run, and I'm sure they have values and morals and can clearly see what is right and wrong. So this has been a big deal. Yet and still, Republicans, for the most part, the majority of them, I mean, there are a lot that are complaining about what he said and did, but a lot of them are not saying anything. So, and I've told you guys plenty of times that the Republicans will, for the betterment of themselves, they will ignore almost anything that he says or does if it will be at the detriment of their party. That is just really how the Republicans work. No matter what he says, they are going to support him because they do not want to lose control of the House and Senate. So, a fucking mess, you guys, but it's not surprising. Not surprising at all. Again, we just gonna see what happens, but you guys already know how I feel. Just another day in the White House. You guys, let's talk about Kim Kardashian and the dumbass statements that she made about Jeffree Star. So, many of you guys might not know about this story. You might not really understand who Jeffree Star is. I didn't follow Jeffree Star that much, but I do know that he's large in the YouTube world. He is a makeup guru, if you will. I think he started out in his MySpace days. He was a singer. People were pegging him to be the next Lady Gaga and all of that. That didn't quite pan out the way that people thought it was, but he was good at makeup, evidently. He was able to get his own brand of makeup, and I did look at the colors, and the colors were pretty and beautiful, but I never bought any of his makeup, only because I'm not always one to just be running to these different YouTube and Instagram makeup artist lines. I prefer to stick with what I know, which is MAC, Lancome, Estee Lauder, and the such. So whatever, but I've always heard about Jeffree Star and the little racist things that he would say as he would alienate a lot of his supporters of color who bought a lot of his makeup. And that's been going on for years, even to most recently. I believe he has some sort of run-in with Jackie Aina, who you guys know. I don't know if I'm saying her last name right, but you guys know her. She also is a very big makeup guru in the YouTube world, a black woman who has done very well for herself. I mean, I watched her grow from when she was a teen. She was Little Pumpkin Pie on YouTube. She was one of my favorite makeup people. I didn't watch that many, but the ones that I did watch, I liked her the best. Okay, just seemed very down to earth and very real. Well, she has blown up a lot too, and not sure on the particulars of what happened with her and Jeffree Star, but they did have some sort of run-in recently, and I had heard that it was more about him saying something racist about her, or kind of implying something that was racist. So anyway, Jeffree Star was doing a swatch of Kim Kardashian's makeup, I've heard good and bad things about Kim Kardashian makeup. Most of it has been very neutral. You know, nobody loves it, but it's there. And I guess, you know, with a lot of makeup brands, there's room for improvement, right? So he was doing a swatch of one of her concealers, I believe, and the swatch was chalky. It was not smooth. It didn't, you know, moisturize. It didn't sink into the skin. And he said something like, girl, what is going on with your concealer? This shit is chalky. Of course, Kim Kardashian's fans came for him. Okay, now Kim Kardashian has how many millions of followers on Instagram and Twitter? I can imagine that they came for him pretty swiftly and pretty harshly. And Kim Kardashian, because she's been caught up in some other shit with the makeup guru world, YouTube world, and I won't get into that, but those of you guys who follow this whole makeup shit on YouTube know that she had kind of got into some shit a while ago, not really blackballing, but just sort of ignoring Jackie Aina, the same black YouTube guru that I was talking about, the makeup guru. It's a long story, but she had then basically ignored Jackie because Jackie had given her a neutral type of review on her makeup as well. So I believe that that was one of the reasons why Kim Kardashian felt that she needed to speak out in support of Jeffree Star and say that, listen, you know, people need to forgive him for the things that he said. She knows that he said some racist things in the past, but that was a long time ago, and he's apologized, and you guys really just need to get over it, you know, as her fans, because, you know, she's said and done some dumb things in the past, and she hates when people bring up her past all the time because she's not that person any longer. So, you know, she just wants everybody to get over it, give them a benefit of the doubt, and let's just move on with our lives, because, you know, even if Jeffree Star did give her a not so good review, you know, she's willing to learn from it, and yada 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 yada. Now, you guys know that I like Kim Kardashian. I don't have a problem with her or the family. However, when I read that, I was offended. Not read it, when I saw the video of her saying that, I was offended, because one thing that I really do hate is when people who aren't black, and I put this on one of the Instagram posts, I hate when people aren't black tell black people to get over a racist comment or something that was done racially that was hurtful to the black community. I hate when a non-black person tells us to get over it. Don't tell us to get over something that has hurt us. It has not affected you in any type of way. Okay, the fact that Kim Kardashian has a black husband and black children, that still doesn't really qualify you to speak on what we should feel when somebody says something about us and our ability to get over it real quickly and never. So I was just like, girl, you know, if they said something about Armenians, let's see how quickly you would want to say for the Armenians to get over it. We know that she feels strongly about her Armenian blood. You know, they talk about the genocide and all of that. So unless they're talking about a group that specifically pertains to you, then you would do best to just not say nothing. And that's really how I feel about it. Now, I also feel that Kim Kardashian, I ain't never thought that the girl was really super smart. I don't turn to Kim Kardashian when it's serious world issues and things that's going on. I look for Kim to look at her fashion style, her hair, her makeup. That's all I expect to get out of Kim Kardashian, and basically that entire family. So even though she said that and I was offended, it was something that I was just like, you know what, whatever. The girl don't really know what the fuck she talking about, okay? And probably speaking way too quickly and just trying to kind of just smooth everything over. I don't think that she was being malicious in what she said. I just think that she was ignorant, you know? So when she came back out very quickly and apologized and said that she doesn't have the right to say that, you know, that she didn't have all the information on the story, she doesn't want to offend anybody, then I was just like, okay, well, she said sorry and we just gonna go on from there, because I'm sure she was able to see the videos that's going around of Jeffree Star saying shit like, you know, calling black women nigga bitches and, you know, talking about Mexican women and, you know, just really being degrading and racist towards women of color. So I'm sure once she saw that, she probably was like, oh shit, I should have never said anything. Yeah, you probably should have never said anything. So when she gave her apology, I just was like, okay, Kim, next time you know better. That is the privilege that is innate in Kim and anybody like her, you know, living rich and famous and like that. Like, we just gonna hope that she learned a lesson from it. Now, Jeffree Star, instead of just being quiet and going on about his business, he has to tweet that, you know, with everything going on in the world, you guys are worried about what I said years ago. And, you know, he starts talking about the political and the racial climate in the world and all that. Listen, what I would have to say to Jeffree Star is, black people, people of color are able to multitask just like everybody fucking else. Okay, we can worry about the racial climate in the world, okay, being bombed by North Koreans. We can talk about Black Lives Matter movements. We can talk about the shit that we got on in our own personal lives, and we can think about the shit that you said racially. Okay, we can do all of that at the same time. So don't try to insult our intelligence by saying that, you know, there are bigger things in the world. No, there's a lot of things happening in the world, and we can be mad at a whole bunch of the shit, okay, including your dumb ass. What I never understand about people is, if you really are sincere and sorry about the things that you said that hurt a group of people, I would imagine that the easier thing to do, and to make people really believe that you're sincere in your apology, is saying, anytime the subject would come up, you know what, I was young, I was ignorant, I'm sorry. Okay, I know that I hurt a lot of people. I hate that this keeps coming up, but I apologize. That is something that you need to do every single time that the subject comes up, because you know what? It's there. People are never going to forget it. It's in the world. It's in the internet world, and people see it. So it's your responsibility to protect your image by keeping on saying something like that. Finally getting fed up and being like, you know, there's other things happening in the world, and why y'all worrying about that? Like, that makes me feel like you don't really care. I can understand how, you know, you say shit in the past and you make mistakes and everything, but you just have to always be open to apologizing. It's the shit that you said and did. And however many times, it's just like when a person cheats on somebody else. Okay, you can't just be mad at them when they mad at you for cheating. You just always have to reassure them that you're sorry, you won't do it again, you know, and build the trust again. So anyway, you guys, I didn't even know I was going to talk about that shit so long. But yeah, it's just, you know, Kim Kardashian, I'm not going to be all out of sorts about myself, because I think the girl's just dumb and she don't really know. She's smart about certain things, but dumb about others, and this is one of those things. I am more concerned with the fact that women of color are still supporting Jeffree Star, still buying his makeup. Why would you do that when he feels the way he does? It's not like he's sorry. He still says things. You know, I would never. I don't give a fuck if I was the last person on earth with him and he had his line of makeup, and child, I would just have to be dusty and crusty and not put no makeup on. I would never support him, and black women out there specifically should not support him either. So that's it. Let me move on. Talked about that shit way too long. What's your opinion on it, though? Leave the comments below. Alright, you guys, so ESPN. Y'all know I don't know shit about football. Okay, I definitely don't understand fantasy football. I mean, I get the gist of fantasy football league, but I didn't realize that it was big enough for ESPN to be holding some sort of something on TV. This sort of something that I'm talking about is this auction of football players. So evidently, it's common practice in the fantasy football league for people to auction off players, and I just really don't get it. I don't understand the process, but it's real big in the fantasy football league. They do it every year. I guess this year it was televised, and we saw a white man holding up sticks, you know, church fan sticks with pictures of football players. Now, they said that it was both black and white football players. However, the clips that we saw on Instagram was only showing the black players and really only showed Odell Beckham. You know, it was almost like a caricature looking picture of him. You know, he just looked, you know, he was looking crazy. His hair was all big, and it was very, very similar to a scene in the movie Get Out when the white people were auctioning off. They were acting as if they were playing bingo, but they were actually auctioning off body parts of black people that they had been hypnotized and brainwashed and kidnapped and took over, basically. So definitely not a good look. Hit social media, you know, it blew up, and people were complaining that yeah, this was dumb. Why would you do something like this? Again, like I said, they say they do it every year. I don't know. Okay, so if you guys follow fantasy football and you know about these auctions, Y'all just let me know. I mean, what is the purpose? I don't get it. Is it money, like real money behind these fantasy football leagues? Like, I mean, to the point that is this large that it has to be on ESPN. I just honestly don't get it. So, from just the outsider's view, that auction was definitely a bad idea. And ESPN did apologize because they said when it's out of context and when you see this, it does look bad, especially when that auction was held, I believe, the same day that the shit was going on in Virginia. Okay, so really, really bad timing. I'm sure they didn't plan it that way, but I don't know. So my rock stars out there who's, really deep into the fantasy football thing, y'all explain it to me a little bit more, because I don't even feel like I explained it correctly. I just know that the auction was a fucking bad look to have some, black faces and white people, stepping up, cheering that they didn't won they black man. So do better, ESPN, do better. I'm surprised that this is just now hitting the internet, the documentary on Chris Brown, because a rock star told me to watch a clip of him talking about the fight between him and Rihanna some months ago. I want to say a couple of months ago. They were like, Roxanne, look, it's been put on YouTube. Watch it. So I did. And when he explains the fight, I really felt like I had already heard this story before, but it was always kind of hearsay. So now, when we get it coming from the horse's mouth, yeah, I believed exactly how he said that story went is how I believe it happened. And that's how I kind of thought that it happened before. Basically, they had, they were in love. They're this young couple. There was some chick that he used to mess around with. I guess Rihanna always suspected it, but he told her that there was never anything going on. But once things started to get really serious and he felt like he wanted to be truthful with her because he really wanted to build a future with her. Now, you got to remember, these are kids. These are kids talking about this. And you really don't think you're going to be building a future anyway. I mean, you don't know that at the time. But anyway, he wanted to be truthful. He said, yeah, the girl that I told you I wasn't fucking around with, yeah, I did have sex with her. Okay, and Rihanna never got over that. So fast forward to the Grammy night. He was there with Rihanna. The girl sends a text that says something like, I'll see you later at the Clive Davis party or whatever. And she saw it. And she was upset because she felt like he was lying and he was still fucking around with this lady behind her back, and he kept on trying to convince her that he wasn't, and she never believed him. So they're in this car, they're in the Lamborghini, they're fighting. Okay, she spit in his face, he punched her a bunch of times, she grabbed his nuts, he bit her. Okay, and it was a mess. All right, so he pulls over, she takes the keys out of the ignition and she throws them out the window. He's yelling at her like, why would you do that? We're Rihanna and Chris Brown in this Lamborghini in the middle of LA at night, and you throwing out keys and all this is not going to look good. Okay, but he did feel bad that he had gotten to this fight, but he said he got to the point where he just kind of blacked out, and so the fight ensued. She threw the keys out. He was just like, fine, you know what, I'm just leaving because you're about to be a mess and people are starting to come out and see what's going on. All right, this is not a good look for neither one of them, but definitely not for him. And that's when he walked off. She's screaming, he's trying to kill me. I mean, yeah, I could believe the story 100%. And it's a story that's going to always haunt him. This is the story that I believe changed the course, the direction of his life from that point on. And sort of has placed him in this position that he is in right now. I would have liked to have seen the rest of the documentary. Just from seeing that part, I felt like, we probably would have learned a lot of things about Chris Brown that we didn't know initially. But yeah, I believed the story, definitely. I could definitely see how that would happen. They're both young. They don't necessarily make the best decisions. They're fighting in this car. I mean, yeah, I can hear it. So when you guys watch it on YouTube, because it is definitely on YouTube, not the best quality, is somebody actually videotaping the show on TV. So I mean, you have to watch it that way, but you get the gist of it. And I don't know, I mean, that's pretty much it. If you guys have actually seen the documentary, tell me what else he's talking about in there. Seems like something that I would like to see. Poor Chris Brown never will be the person that I believe he should be, or that he was destined almost for greatness, because before that happened, everybody loved Chris Brown. He could do no wrong, okay? He was this dancer, he was this singer, he was this cute kid, and he still has a legion of fans. He still has a group, but it's always that bad boy image that has helped his career, but not always positively. So y'all let me know if you saw the documentary though, and tell me what you think about it. Shit, I feel like I'm doing a segment on Breakfast Club every week. Okay, this time we're talking about Jackie Christie that was on the Breakfast Club. It was a cool enough interview. I mean, they interviewed her about mostly the shit that's going on with her daughter. I mean, it was just fine to see this other side of Jackie, not the neurotic, crazy, out of control side of Jackie that is portrayed on Basketball Wives, but just her talking very calmly about the situation with her and her daughter. I'm just gonna always say that there is some truth to both of what they're saying, but I'm going to say also that Jackie probably was not the best mother to that little girl. And while Takari might have people around her that are influencing her and making her, you know, make her kind of remember things differently, we already know that Jackie's other daughter, who she loves to death, has already said that she treated the other daughter differently, and we cannot forget that fact. But I also feel like Jackie probably has done some things that has helped the daughter as well. I don't even really know where the truth lies in that story. We've gotten to Kari's side and we got Jackie's side. That's all I'm gonna say. I mean, there are still parts of the story that's weird, because she makes it seem like everything is just so okay when she just talks to her and Takari, but then all these other influences that happen changes the stories up, and when it's presented on social media, it's a whole entirely different story. If I as a mother was going through something like that as a daughter, I don't know if I would be so quick to want to talk to him all the time and just be like, oh, I still love my daughter to death. I mean, I would love my daughter to death still, but I would have some issue with me talking to you and you saying one thing and then getting on social media and saying something different. So that's where the story doesn't match up. Doesn't make sense. You know what I'm saying? But the rest of the interview was cool, and Jackie, when she's not neurotic and crazy on the show, just seems like a regular woman. Okay, and does have these businesses, and I mean, her and Doug are paid for sure. And what she was saying about Basketball Wives, even though people never want to admit it, it's true. That is her show, even though it's not her show. But Jackie, along with Malaysia, is the one who built that show. And really it's mostly Jackie, because Malaysia has been, you know, iffy. Her position on the show has been iffy. I mean, we all still think of Malaysia and would like to see Malaysia on the show, you know, sans a single white female. But Jackie very much is Los Angeles, very much. Hate to say it sometimes, but it's the truth. So, but yeah, the interview was cool, and I think they did a good job of not trying to pounce on her with the things that they had heard in the story, and kind of tried to give her room to say her side, but still kind of ask her the questions that we wanted to know the answers to. I still wanted somebody to say, well, why did Shani say that you were a bad mother? Why did she say that? And now all of a sudden you're saying that that's not true. I mean, I'm positive that Jackie had some boosting days in her life. I mean, we done did shit when we was younger that we wouldn't be proud of. Okay, I had a friend of mine who was a big time booster. I mean, she used to steal, and it was unnecessary. Didn't need the money or nothing. I mean, we would go in the store and she used to steal the her perfume samples was her favorite thing to steal. She would pick it up and then she would just let it drop into her sleeve. And I was like, bitch, I'm not gonna be with you. You're gonna be doing shit like that. I'm not getting arrested for your dumb ass, okay? But yeah, you know, shit like that was going down back in the day, so I wouldn't put it past Jackie to be a booster and taking the shit back and getting the money back. I mean, you wouldn't be proud of it. I mean, she wouldn't do that shit today, but you know, desperate times call for desperate measures. So anyway, you guys, let me know what you thought about the interview. If you watched it, if you listened to it, did it change your feelings on Jackie Christie? Do you still feel the same way about her? Whether it was negative or positively, let me know. And then lastly, in quickies, you guys, they're saying that Ciara is pregnant again. And just 4 months after they're saying that she had Sienna Princess Wilson, now they're saying that she is infanticipating once again. Now, they're saying that because she was at a training camp day with her husband, and she had on this loose t-shirt type dress, and people was like, oh my gosh, she's pregnant, she's hiding her belly. Well, That's probably not true, you guys. I mean, she just had a baby 4 months ago, and I know that she is Sierra, and she has the bounce back and the snap back and all of that, but shit, she said that she gained, what, 60, 80 pounds, something like that. Takes time to get rid of that weight, especially with the second baby, especially when you in love and you ain't got no rush to lose the fucking weight, and you still look good anyway, you're just a little bit thicker. I mean, she has a lot of height on her, so she can carry that weight much differently than somebody that's 5'2", 5'3". Yeah, I think that it's more about the fact that she probably still has a little bit of weight to lose, and she's just, I mean, wanting to wear something loose. Fuck, she's at a training camp. What the fuck you guys want her to wear? Just be trying to come up with anything, trying to say the girl pregnant. She probably is not pregnant, but if she is, then that's fine too. Shit, she's married, they rich, they can afford it. Maybe they want a big family. So if they are, then good for them. If they're not, then that's fine as well. We will see, though. Congratulations are also in order to Cardi B. She is the first female artist since Iggy Azalea to break into the top 10 on the Billboard's Hot 100s, and that is for the success of her song Bodak Yellow. I love that song, and I'm happy for her. They're also saying that Bodak Yellow is the highest charting single by a woman since Nicki Minaj's Anaconda, and a definite major achievement for Cardi B, who was on Love and Hip Hop. I mean, you know, this is big for her, and I saw it happening when people were really taking her mixtape seriously. It was a smart move for her to get off of Love and Hip Hop. She has a great team around her, and it has been nothing but steady climbing up for her. So I'm happy for her, because I love to see an underdog really make it. And even with all of her ghetto hood ratchetness, I could always see the good person underneath. I think that she is a good person, and that is why she is getting the success that she is getting. And I'm happy to see it. Now, as far as this whole thing with Nicki Minaj and the beef and people trying to pit these two against each other, you know, them being women of color and all of that, my feeling is I don't think there's a beef. We do know that Nicki Minaj back in the day must have slighted Cardi B, and her feelings were very hurt about that. But Nicki Minaj wasn't thinking that Cardi B was nothing that she needed to be concerned with, and she probably was rude to her, but I wouldn't classify it as a beef. What I will say now, though, is Nicki Minaj is very much aware of who Cardi B is. She knows that she's there. That's not nothing that she can ignore any longer. And I'm sure that Cardi B knows that Nicki Minaj realizes that she is now here as well. Nicki Minaj can't really afford to get into any beef with Cardi B, only because so many people like her. And Nicki Minaj still kind of has to prove herself with this next album, that she still has this thing. When everybody was saying that Safari was the one who, you know, wrote her music and was responsible for a lot of her successes and all of that. So Nicki Minaj has something to prove within herself, not towards Cardi B. But yeah, Nicki Minaj is in this weird place right now. Still very much A-list female rapper. But Cardi B is, she's definitely one to be reckoned with. Okay, so that's what I will say about that situation. No, I don't want to see them in any type of collaboration. Not right now, anyway. It'll be sort of the same thing as when we would see, remember after the game and 50 Cent had that big ass blowout, and then, you know, Dr. Dre made them seem like they was best friends, and then they came out with the song, but you could tell that those two just hated each other. Okay, well, it was the same thing here. I don't think that they hate each other, but it would just be forced, and it would feel uncomfortable. It wouldn't feel genuine that these two wanted to work together. It was more for the people and all of that. So everybody has their lane. Everybody can stay in it. There's enough room for a Nicki Minaj and a Cardi B. I know that hip-hop doesn't always say that, especially when it comes to female rappers, but I just think that it's great that Cardi B has had this success. And when her actual official album comes out, that is going to really put her in a place where she is going to be recognized as as one of the female rapper greats of this time right now. So congratulations to her. I'm nothing but happy for her. I just saw that she bought that Bentley truck yesterday. She said she bought it with cash. I'm hoping that she just not spending frivolously. It doesn't seem like she is. Like I said, she has a good team behind her, but I'm happy for her. Congratulations to Cardi B. They're saying that Peter Thomas is shooting a pilot for his new show. Did I say Peter Peter, I messed up that word. But yeah, he's shooting the pilot for his new show. He had already told us that he was getting this show, a spinoff from Real Housewives of Atlanta. It was going to be about his show, Club One, up in Charlotte, North Carolina. Something along the lines of Vanderpump Rules, okay? Talking about the nightclub and all of that. So congratulations to him. He says that it's not going to have anything to do with Real Housewives of Atlanta. Cynthia probably won't even be on the show. Good for him. He was always good for entertainment. They say it's going to be on Bravo. Will you be watching when it comes on? Congratulations also in order for LaToya Luckett. They say that she is engaged to someone named Tomicus Walker. Now, I don't know who he is. I don't know if he's an entertainer, if it's a sports player, if he's a business person, just a regular Joe Schmo. I couldn't find anything on the man on Instagram or on the internet. However, I know by the end of the day, you guys gonna have all the information we need down to his damn blood type and shoe size. So just stand by. But in the meantime, congratulations to the happy couple. And lastly, congratulations to MC Lyte, who married her fiance, Marine Corps veteran and businessman John Weish. Okay, she met him on Match. So there is hope for those of you guys who are still playing on the online dating world. I actually know quite a few people that met on Match and got married. Okay, so it does work. I guess you just have to find the right person. I told you guys about when she met him before, and I always thought that it was strange, like as a star that MC Lyte is. How do you put your profile on those, on those online engines like that, and then just kind of hope that you don't just get all kind of crazies who just wants to meet MC Lyte? Okay, I'm sure that, it was a vetting process there. I don't know, but congratulations to them too. They got married in Montego Bay on the beach at sunset, and she said that she is found her king. They both seem very happy and they love each other. So congratulations to MC Lyte and John Weish. Alright, you guys, that is it. I don't have any makeup on because I'm going to get my eyelashes done. Okay. And I ain't got my eyelashes done, eyebrows, nails. I haven't had nothing done in like a month. Because I have been on the go and moving and running and shit. So I just this weekend is the weekend of beautification for me and Jada Honey. We going to get everything fucking done, okay? So that's why I got the clean look today, okay? Look a little tired and like a baby with these fucking braces on. Anyway, let me get off of here, you guys. We do this every single week. So make sure that you rate, comment, and subscribe, and make sure you come back. Until next time, Roxstars. Bye.